Okay, recording has started. Right, we were just discussing the cardiovascular system, yeah? So we were talking about how cardio just means the heart, okay? Let's move on to the second word. The second word is vascular. Now, anyone, what do you think vascular means? It's linked to vessels. If you just want to shout it out if anyone has any ideas. What do you think vascular means?
Is it how blood moves around the body?
Yes, it's how blood moves around the body. Specifically, blood is moving around in your blood vessels. Okay? So that is what vascular means. Now let's just look at cardio and vascular together. So cardio means heart, and what does the heart pump around the body, Angela? Blood. Now it's pumping around the blood, it's pumping the blood through blood vessels. And where are those blood vessels going to, Casey? Where's the blood going to? So the heart's pumping the blood through the vessels. Where is the blood reaching? Why are we pumping this blood? Yes, so the lungs get oxygen, but specifically we're pumping the blood to the cells. Yeah? To the cells. So the heart is pumping the blood. It's pumping the blood through the vessels to the cells. We'll discuss this in a bit. So cardio means heart, vascular means blood vessels. System. When you think of a system, so I can't ask Cody because you don't have your mic on. But if you want to contribute in the chat, that's fine. So Isaac, when I think of a system, what do you think a system means? For example, if you've got a factory, everything's in a system. What do you think of the word system? Any ideas, Isaac?
The way something functions.
The way something's functions, the way something's organized, yeah? The way something's organized. Now, it's organized through blood vessels and the lungs, heart, etc. We'll discuss this in a bit. But just to really hone down the meaning of today's title. Cardio means heart, vascular means blood vessels, and system is how is the heart and the blood vessels organized. Now look, we mentioned that the heart pumps blood through blood vessels, which goes to cells. Now the key question that you should be asking is, all right, if we have a cell here, yeah, with a nucleus, with everything in it, and we're getting blood vessels like this, which have got red blood cells, why does blood need to go to the cells? Why are we pumping blood to cells? What's the point? Does anyone know? Cody, do you know? I want you to contribute in the chat. So why are we pumping blood to cells? Any ideas? If you want to write it in the chat, Cody, if you have any ideas. Why are we pumping blood to cells? What's the point? If you don't know, it's fine. Okay, I'm not sure if Cody can hear me. Okay, right, I'll just tell you then. The reason why we're pumping blood to cells is so the cells can get oxygen. Yeah? Because the blood contains oxygen. The cells need the oxygen. Why do the cells need oxygen, Casey? Aerobic respiration. Now, what does aerobic respiration release, Angela? Energy, yeah? So you lot need to understand the big picture here. Don't just think about heart, blood vessels, cells in isolation. You can't think of it in isolation. You have to think it as a big picture. So look, the heart pumps oxygenated blood through blood vessels to cells. The cells need the oxygen for aerobic respiration for energy. Okay, basically the heart pumps oxygen so the cells can release energy. Okay, that's the big picture. Okay, right. You probably know who this is. Who is this, Isaac? Ronaldo. Okay. Now you might be wondering, why have I put a picture of him on the screen? Well, it's relevant to today's topic. Okay. And the key question that I want you guys to think about, the key question is, why does Ronaldo's heart beat faster when he is sprinting? And when he's sprinting when he's sprinting towards the ball. Okay, that's the question that I want you guys to think about. Why does Ronaldo's heart beat faster when he is sprinting towards the ball? Okay, this is relevant to your GCSE because you get questions like this, application-based questions. So let's think about this. If Ronaldo is sprinting towards the ball, why does his heart beat faster? So let's think about this. So first thing, he's sprinting. Okay, he's seen a ball and he's sprinting towards the ball. As a consequence of him sprinting towards the ball, his heart is beating faster. His heart beats faster. Now the question I'm asking, why is his heart beating faster? So let's think about this. So if you want to chuck ideas at me, Cody, you can chuck some ideas in the chat. Let's discuss this. Yes. So yes. Yeah, exactly that. So look, if he's sprinting, his muscle cells are working more. If he's sprinting, his muscle cells are contracting, they're working more harder. If his muscle cells are working harder, they are doing more respiration, they need to release more energy. Okay? They need to release more energy. So look, as he's sprinting, the cells in Ronaldo's muscles are working harder, they need more energy, they need to release more energy. They release more energy because obviously he's sprinting, and the heart needs to beat faster because we need to get oxygen in. Because think about it, if we need more energy, we need to do more aerobic respiration, and respiration needs oxygen, okay? So that's the key idea there. Basically, he sprints faster, his muscle cells are working harder, they need more oxygen so they can release more energy. Okay, right. Let's think about the cardiovascular system in a bit more detail. Now, I want to start off by touching upon the big picture. So if you want to copy this down, lungs, heart, and body. By the way, I just want to check if Cody can still hear me. Cody, can you text in the chat if you can still hear me? Okay, so I want you to copy this diagram down and we'll work through it. Lungs, heart, body. I want you to draw these arrows. And let's discuss what's happening here. Okay, so before we actually discuss the different vessels, let's discuss each of them in turn, okay? So first of all, let's focus in on the lungs before we discuss the rest. So let's look at the lungs then. Okay. Now, Angela, what's the point of the lungs? What do the lungs do?
Do they take oxygen to the heart?
So kind of, they basically let oxygen in the blood. Okay, that's what they do. Now, you guys need to know the structure of the lungs and what they look like. So the lungs look something like this. So the point is to get oxygen in and carbon dioxide out. Okay, recording's back on. Right, we were discussing the lungs. Now, you lot need to know the structure of the lungs, and this is what the structure of the lungs looks like. Okay, your drawing doesn't have to be perfect. You just need to get the general idea. Okay, this is what your lungs look like. Okay, so we need to know the different structures of the lungs. So, look, you're breathing in. You breathe in through your mouth or your nose, and the oxygen goes down. It goes down into a little tube. This little tube. Can you see me, by the way, in the picture? Isaac, can you see me at the bottom left or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So look, you're breathing in oxygen, yeah, and it goes down this tube. Can you feel this tube? What does it feel like? Anyone, what does this tube feel like? You're breathing oxygen down in. Can you see it's kind of it's not smooth? Did you get that, Isaac? Yeah? Now, we'll discuss why it's not smooth. But basically, the first thing is, as you're breathing oxygen down, it goes down into the trachea. Okay, this is called the trachea. Now, the trachea branches into two. And does anyone know what this is called? Or bronchi. So you got a tube, it branches into two, and then it branches even further into little tubes, and the little tubes are called bronchioles. Bronchioles. And finally, we've got little air sacs at the end, and what are these called, Angela? Alveoli. Yes. Okay, so that is the pathway of air. So we go from your nose or your mouth down to the trachea, into the bronchi, into the bronchioles, into the alveoli. Now, if you were to feel this windpipe, your trachea, you would notice that it's kind of spiky, okay? Now, it's spiky because it's got something, it's got rings of cartilage, okay? So these are called rings of cartilage. Okay, that's why it feels spiky down here. It's got rings of cartilage. Sorry, I think Cody is having struggle joining, or he's been kicked out or something. So just give me like a second, I'll just give him the code. Just 1 second. Okay, right, let's continue. We were talking about the rings of cartilage. So if you feel the trachea, the windpipe, it's got cartilage. It feels spiky. Now, Angela, any ideas? Why do we have cartilage here?
No, I'm not sure.
Not sure? So think about it. If you're breathing in loads of air and you're expelling loads of air really, really fast, if it's just a tube, if you just got like a paper straw or something, it'll collapse. So you've got rings of cartilage which prevent the trachea from collapsing, okay? So when you're breathing in and you're breathing out, it prevents from collapsing. So that's the point of it. So the rings of cartilage prevent the trachea from collapsing. Okay, now there's a really key idea that you guys need to understand. And that is that these rings of cartilage are C-shaped. They are C-shaped rings of cartilage. C-shaped. So what does that mean? Well, they're like this. They're like this. They're C-shaped, yeah? They're not all, they don't wrap around the trachea. They don't wrap around, okay? They're C-shaped. Does anyone know why they are C-shaped? Any ideas? Think about what you do with your mouth. Oops. I've recorded it, so hopefully you can catch up. Okay, right. Okay, that's fine, no worries. So you got the trachea, bronchioles, alveoli. Okay, right, I'll ask you. We were discussing this windpipe here. Now, this windpipe is spiky. It's got cartilage. Now, they're called C-shaped rings of cartilage. Any clue why they're C-shaped and not fully wrapped around the trachea? Any ideas? It's fine if you don't. No? Okay. Right. So, you do two things. You either breathe in and out air, or you eat food and drink. So if you think about it, if you have your windpipe here, and what was the windpipe called, Angela? Trachea. Now, right next to the windpipe, what other pipe do we have, Isaac? Any ideas, Isaac? It's the esophagus. Yes, it's the esophagus. Is your food pipe. Yeah. So you've got your food pipe, or don't say food pipe. Say esophagus. Essentially, you breathe in and out air through this one, and you eat food and drink through this one. So think about it. The trachea has C-shaped rings of cartilage. They are C-shaped. They're like this. They're like this. Now think about it. If you swallow a huge piece of food here and you don't chew it properly, let's say this is a huge piece of food, what would happen if it wasn't C-shaped and if the trachea was like this? What do you think would happen, Cody? Yeah, it'll get stuck, it'll get snapped, stuff like that. So, to prevent that from happening, it's C-shaped. Yeah? Why is it C-shaped? It's for flexibility. It's for flexibility. So the food can essentially stretch out a bit and don't get stuck. So that's the point, yeah? C-shaped rings of cartilage. Casey, can you remind me of what is the point of C-shaped rings of cartilage? Yes, and what's the main function of cartilage? Why do we have it in the windpipe? It doesn't collapse when you're breathing in and out. Okay. Right, the key point that I want you to get is trachea, bronchi, bronchioles, alveoli. Now look, we're breathing in oxygen, yeah? We're breathing in oxygen. It goes through here. It goes through here. And the oxygen diffuses into our blood down here at the alveoli. Okay, this is where the oxygen gets into. Let me just see if we're covering alveoli today, based on the spec. Yes, we are looking at the alveoli. Okay, right. So that's the gross big structure of the lungs. Let's now zoom in. Let's now zoom in to discussing alveoli. So these little air sacs down here. Okay. So I've just zoomed in on these little air sacs down here. Okay, so this is your alveoli. It's an air sac. Now around the alveoli, like this, we have. Do you know what we have, Angela? Okay, so it's red. What does red mean? It's blood. Now, blood is in capillaries, okay? So here we've got capillaries. So right at the bottom of the alveoli, look, what's the point, yeah? Think about what's the point. We're breathing in oxygen. That oxygen needs to go into the blood so it can then go to the heart, so it can go to the body. So look, the whole point of this is to get oxygen into our blood. Yeah, it does this at the alveoli. So look, we've got the alveoli, and we've got the capillaries around the alveoli. Now, you all know what diffusion is. So, just a second. So, we've got these little red blood cells, which are coming in, and they're taking the oxygen away. Now, we know respiration. What does respiration release? What's the gas that's given out, Casey? So what's the wasted gas? Carbon dioxide. So look, as the red blood cells are coming in, carbon dioxide goes into the alveoli. Now look, we've got oxygen, yeah? We're breathing in oxygen. We've got a bunch of oxygen. Now, diffusion says it goes from high concentration to low concentration, so all the oxygen diffuses into the alveoli, okay? So CO2 diffuses out, oxygen diffuses in. Okay, that's pretty much the alveoli. You need to know some adaptations. Basically, how is this good for diffusion? Yeah, why is it good for oxygen in and carbon dioxide out? Okay, so let's see why is this so good. The first thing is that, you know, this membrane here, this is 1 cell thick. So the membrane is 1 cell thick. That's the first adaptation. The membrane is 1 cell thick. Now, Cody, any ideas? Why is this good? Why does this membrane being 1 cell thick good for diffusion?
So the oxygen and carbon dioxide can easily be passed through.
Yeah, easily and quickly. Yeah, if we got loads of layers, it's going to take ages for it to get through. So 1 cell thick for very quick diffusion. The second way that this is adapted is that we've got a good blood supply. Okay, good blood supply. Now, Isaac, any idea why is this good blood supply good for diffusion? Yeah, but the key idea is this. Look, as the blood cells come in, CO2 goes out quickly, and then oxygen goes in quickly. Now, it goes in and out quickly because it's got a good blood supply. CO2 is offloaded, oxygen is taken in fast. Now, the reason why it's so good It's because this maintains a steep concentration gradient. Okay, I'll talk about that. This maintains a steep concentration gradient. Concentration gradient. What does that mean? That means that we are maintaining a high to low concentration. Because I'll explain this. So CO2 comes in, it gives its CO2 away quickly. Then oxygen comes in. Can you see we've always got this high to low, high to low, high to low? You need to understand that this is coming quick. The blood is coming quick. And because it's coming quick, it's got a very good blood supply. It maintains a steep gradient. Basically, we've always got high to low, high to low. Okay, so the first thing is it's 1 cell thick. The second thing, it's got a good blood supply. The third thing is that it's got a very large surface area. It's got a large surface area. Now, why is that good? Well, a large surface area is good. Well, first of all, what does that mean? Angela, any ideas what that means? There's lots of space. Yeah. So look, I'll highlight the space. Look at this. If it lets me to highlight. Anyways, I'll just draw it. Look at all of this space. All around. Can you see? It's getting a bit messy, but basically, large surface area for lots of space for diffusion. Okay, for maximal diffusion. Okay, they're pretty much the main points. 1 cell thick, good blood supply, large surface area. It's also moist, if you want to add that in as well. Okay, let's go back to discussing where we're coming from. We're coming from trachea, bronchioles, alveoli, and we've had a look at the alveoli. Basically, the key point is getting oxygen into our blood, okay? That's what we're doing. We're getting oxygen into our blood. Let's go back to this. Right, we've looked at the lungs. What's the point of the lungs? The point of the lungs is to get oxygen into our blood. Okay, we've done that. We've got oxygen into our blood. Now, once we've got oxygen in, once we've got oxygenated blood, the oxygen, that blood then goes to the heart, and then the heart pumps it around to the body. What happens in the body? The body uses the oxygen. It uses all the oxygen up. This then goes back to the heart, then goes back to the lungs. Okay. This process is called a double circulatory system. Double circulatory system. Now it's common sense. Isaac, why is it double circulatory? What does that mean? People get confused about what that means.
It's because
Yes. Yeah, kind of. But the main definition for double circulatory means that blood enters the heart at 2 points. Can you see how blood is entering the heart there? And blood is entering the heart there. 2 places. That's what a double circulatory system means. You might get an application-based question. You might talk about a fish. A fish has a single circulatory system. What does that mean? Blood enters the heart at only 1 place. Okay. Now we need to know what type of vessels these are. 1, 2, 3, 4. We need to name them. Okay. So let's do that. Okay. Now before I discuss this, I need to make you guys understand 2 key terms. And these are artery and these are vein. vein. You need to know the difference between these two. And finally, we need to know pulmonary. Okay, so these might be new terms to you. I want you to understand what these mean. Artery, vein, and pulmonary. Okay, now you need to understand that artery means carrying blood away from the heart. So arteries carry blood away from the heart. Away from the heart. The way you can remember this is that arteries go away from the heart. Veins are the opposite. So what do veins do, Cody? Yes, exactly that. So veins, they carry blood. Now, I've got a funny way to remember this, but it's towards the heart. Like a vampire or something. They carry blood towards, double V, towards the heart. That's how you can remember it. A for away, V towards. And finally, you need to know what pulmonary means, and pulmonary is just another word for lungs. Another word for pulmonary is lungs, okay? That's what it means. Artery, way, vein, towards, pulmonary, lungs. Okay, let's look at this. Now, just based on what we've done now, let's see if it's an artery or it's a vein. Angela, have a look at this arrow. Is it an artery or is it a vein? So look at where the arrow is going again. Look at the arrowhead. It's a vein because it's going towards the heart. Cody, what about this one? That's an artery. Now, Casey, where is it going to? What was the word for lungs? Pulmonary. So this becomes your pulmonary artery. Pulmonary because it's going to the lungs. Artery because it's going away from the heart. Simple. Let's have a look at this one. It's a vein because it's going towards the heart. Now it's going, look, it's going from the lungs. So this becomes your pulmonary vein. Simple. Pulmonary vein, pulmonary artery. Pulmonary means lungs. Anything to do with lungs, just put pulmonary in front of it. Simple, right? Pulmonary vein, pulmonary artery. Okay, Isaac, what is this, an artery or a vein? Artery. And look, finally, this is a vein. Now, it's a bit different for these two, okay? It's a bit different for these two. It's not that different. You just need to know two words. So look, it is an artery because it's away from the heart. However, instead of saying artery, we say aorta. Okay, we change the name. It's called an aorta. It's still an artery. An aorta is an artery, but we just call it aorta. Okay, this one, it's still a vein, but instead of calling it a vein, do you know what we call it, Casey? Vena cava, exactly that, yes. This is called your vena cava. Okay, now there's one more thing that I want to really pin down, and that is the difference between your right and your left. Now, you might be like, that is simple. I know my right, I know my left. However, you need to understand that anything to do with the heart flips around. So, Cody, what would you say this side is? Is it your right or your left?
Your left.
So it's your right, but you flip it around and it becomes your left. So this is your left side, this is your right side. Okay, that is absolutely crucial. You'll actually I've got this wrong so many times, but your right and your left are flipped around. Okay, you need to understand that. If it's got a heart, it's flipped around. Okay, I'll give you a second to write that down. Let me just get a charger for my pen. Okay, has everyone got that down? Angela, have you got it down? Okay, right, let's move on. So look, we've discussed the structure of the lungs. Trachea, bronchi, bronchioles, alveoli. We've looked at the 4 vessels. We now need to look at the structure of the heart, okay? But just to recap, Cody, what was the vessel that takes blood away from the heart? Or what is it called? Is it an artery or is it a vein? An artery, yeah? Isaac, without looking at your notes, what's the vessel that takes blood from the heart to the body? The aorta, yes. Okay. Try to remember this. It shouldn't be too hard. Pulmonary, it's got lungs. Artery, away, vein, towards. Okay, let's move on to discussing the structure of the heart. Okay, now, this is an image. I've taken it from Oak National Academy. It's not my image. But this is the type of image that you get in exam questions. Okay. Right, this is a picture of the heart. We need to label the different features of the heart. Now, before you ever start to even look at a heart, the first and foremost of things that you should be doing is labeling it right and left. Okay, the first thing. That's the first thing that you should do. So, like I've said, it flips around. This is your right, this is your left. Okay? If you don't take anything away from today, take that away, please. Okay? Right and left. Okay, now the heart has 4 chambers. We've got a chamber here, we've got a chamber here, we've got a chamber here, and we've got a chamber here. Now, we need to understand what the names of those 4 chambers are. It's very simple, you've done it before. First of all, let's label it. So this is left, this is left, this is right, and this is right. Does anyone know what the tops are called? You can just shout it out. Atrium, yes. Left atrium, atrium, and right atrium. And what are the bottom called? Ventricles, very good. Ventricle, left ventricle, and right ventricle. Okay. Now, a way to remember it is that attic is at the top. So atrium equals, so you know the attic in a house? I think the attic is the top thing in the house. So is atrium. So atrium is at the top, attic is at the top. Okay, anyways, the 4 chambers should be pretty simple. Okay. Right, let's move on to discussing the different vessels. We already know the names of them. We just need to put them on the image. So let's go to where it is. So look, we already know what the names of them are. We just need to transfer this on to our diagram. So let me paste it here. Okay. So we just need to put these four: pulmonary vein, artery, vena cava, aorta, onto our diagram. Okay. So it's very simple. Let's do the right side first. Oh my days. Can you see the mistake I've made? Well, what's the mistake I've made? Can anyone spot it? Yeah, I'm stupid, innit? So I've labeled it the wrong way. So this is your left, this is your right. See what I mean? It's a really simple mistake to make. Okay, anyways. All we're gonna do is we're gonna label the blood vessels onto our diagram. So look here, we've got vena cava, yeah? So here we have vena cava. Yes? Now look, vena cava, blood is coming from the body, and where is it going to go to? It's going here. Can you see? Now that is, look, your pulmonary artery. Now, don't worry if you don't get this firsthand. It's pretty difficult. It took me a long time to get this. But look, we've got vena cava, then we've got pulmonary artery. Done. Now look, blood has gone to the lungs. It's gone to the lungs and it's coming back to the heart. It's coming back to the heart. It comes back through here. Can you see? Comes back through here. And look, that's your pulmonary vein. Pulmonary vein. And finally, look, it goes through here and it goes out. It goes out to the body, and that's your aorta. Don't worry if you don't get this now. It's difficult. The best way to remember it is use this, yeah? Make sure you absolutely get this. And then just look at this and just repeat it again and again and again. So that's what I want to do. I just spend a minute just looking at this. In your head, memorize where the structures are, what everything is. So vena cava, pulmonary artery, pulmonary vein, aorta. Just look at it and trust me, it'll go into your mind. Just spend a minute just looking at where they are because it's difficult to understand. Okay, make sure you get it because I'll get you to label it after around 30 seconds. So make sure you go through in your mind where everything is. Okay, hopefully you've got a slight understanding of where things are. So let's have a label then. So before we label it, let's label this. Let's recap labeling this. So we've at least got this honed in. Okay. So let's have a look at labeling this. Cody, what's this here? Without looking. Pulmonary vein. What's this, Angela? What's this, Casey? Very good. Vena cava. And finally, Isaac. Pulmonary artery. That's easy. Labeling that is easy, yeah? I trust that you all didn't use your notes there. Okay. The tricky part is labeling it here, but hopefully we can do it. This, like I said, this will take you a lot of time to learn. Okay, so the first thing, whenever we look at heart, we label it right and left. I'm not going to do it wrong this time. This is your left, this is your right. Okay, Isaac, what is this? Vena cava, yes. Have a go at try and do it from memory, yeah, everyone. So yes, that's your vena cava, very good. Now look, it's going here and then it's going out. So what is this, Angela? So it's going, look, it's going out. Pulmonary artery, yes, it's going out, pulmonary artery. Then look, it's coming back in. So what is this, Casey? Pulmonary vein, yes, and look, it's coming through here and it's going out into the body. And so what is this, Cody?
Aorta.
Aorta, okay? Please try and understand that in your own time. Okay, so look, we've had a look at the 4 different vessels. We've had a look at the lungs, the structure of the lungs. Cody, can you remind me of the structure of the lungs? Yeah. Splits into 2. Bronchi, yes. Bronchioles, yes. Alveoli are the little air sacs. Okay, we know the structure of the lungs, we know the structure of the heart, we know the 4 types of vessels. Okay, there's one thing that you need to know, and that is that the heart, yeah, what's the point of the heart? Can you remind me, Casey, what's the point of the heart? What does it do? Pumps blood around the body. Now, it pumps blood. It does what? It pumps blood. It pumps blood. Now the heart, it pumps blood. It's a muscle. The heart is a muscle. The heart itself is a muscle, just like your biceps. Your biceps are a muscle. Your heart is also a muscle. Now think about it. If the heart needs to contract, if the heart needs to pump, it's a muscle. What does it need to do for to pump? If it's a muscle, think about it. Does anyone know? It needs to respire. Yeah. So look, the heart itself is a muscle. It needs to contract. It needs to respire itself. Yeah. What do we need for respiration, Isaac? We need oxygen. Yes, we need oxygen and glucose. Now think about it. The heart, yeah, pumps oxygenated blood. But how does it get oxygen itself? It's a muscle. For it to pump, it needs oxygen itself. Does anyone know where it gets the oxygen for itself? Any clue? Coronary arteries. Good. So just to summarize, for if you're feeling lost, the heart is a muscle. It is a muscle. It needs to contract. It needs to respire. It itself needs oxygen. It gets the oxygen through special vessels, which are called coronary arteries. Okay, so these are another type. They're called coronary arteries. Coronary arteries. So coronary arteries supply oxygen to the heart. Do you understand that, Cody? Yeah? Okay. Basically, the point is, yeah, the oxygen's given, yeah, the heart is pumping oxygen to the cells. But what about its own cells? It gets the oxygen to its own cells through coronary arteries. Okay, now look, we discussed how the heart pumps. Now, if you want to pump something, if you want to squeeze like a balloon or something, you do that yourself. Who squeezes your heart? Does a random man squeeze your heart? Do you squeeze your heart every time it needs to pump? Pacemaker, yes. So the heart pumps via something called pacemaker cells, and they are here. So these are called pacemaker cells, and pacemaker cells are what cause the heart to beat, because you don't pump your heart, you don't squeeze it with your hands, these cells do. They're called pacemaker cells, and you need to know that they are located here. Okay, right. Let's discuss coronary arteries for a bit. Angela, can you remind me what coronary arteries do? Yes, exactly that. Now, the problem with this is that people who are obese, so let's say we have our coronary arteries looking like this. Okay, these are our coronary arteries. We've got blood which is going through here. Now, people who are obese, they might develop fatty deposits in the coronary arteries like this. Okay, so this is essentially fat which is developing. Now, Isaac, what do you think is happening now if the fat develops too much? Yes, there will be a blood clot. Then what will happen, Cody, if there's no blood getting to the heart? For what process? Which type of respiration? Yes, and what does that release, Angela? Why do we need the energy, Isaac? For the heart to pump. If the heart doesn't pump, what happens, Casey? Yes, but before that happens, you've taken a huge leap. The heart's not pumping oxygen to the cells. What happens then, Angela? The cells, before we get to that, you want to skip steps. The cell won't respire, the cell won't release any energy, and then the cell will die, and then you'll die. That's the full process, okay? We're taking a whistle-stop tour, but that's basically what a heart attack is. We want to stop that from happening. So the way that doctors prevent that from happening is that they give you a medication in tablets, and they're called statins. And basically what the statin does is it essentially melts the fatty deposits. By the way, this, where fat develops, is called coronary heart disease. So this is called coronary heart disease. Okay, that's the name it's given. Coronary heart disease. Okay, so yeah, statins is a drug which can get rid of the fatty deposits. There's also another way that doctors can get rid of this. Does anyone know? It begins with an S. Stents. Now, I think I might actually have watched this in the hospital. So when I was on work experience, I'm pretty sure it was the surgeon putting a stent inside. But basically what's happening is that the doctor will go usually through your, I think he went through the wrist, go all the way up your arm, and go all the way down to your heart, and go all the way down to your coronary arteries. And what the doctor does, yeah, is it's basically like a little piece of foil, essentially. So it looks something like this. It's like a mesh, like a metal mesh thing, and the doctor inserts it in, and what happens is that mesh expands. It inflates like a balloon. Yeah, and all the fatty deposits, all the this cholesterol gets pushed aside. Okay, so this is called stents. So stents are this, and statins are drugs. Stents and statins. Okay, one final thing to finish off before we start chemistry, and that is going back to pacemaker cells. If you've got a really low heartbeat, or if you've got a really high heartbeat, that might mean your pacemaker cells aren't working properly. Now, let's look at the word here. Pacemaker. It sets a pace. Does anyone know what the pace is for heartbeat, normal heartbeat? It's pretty much common sense. Cody, you play football, you should know. Yes. 60 to 70, yeah? 70 beats per minute. So, if it goes dangerously low, like 50, or like 40, or if it goes too high, that's a problem. That could indicate a problem with your pacemaker cells. So how do doctors fix this, Casey? If your pacemakers aren't working properly? They use an artificial pacemaker. This is an artificial pacemaker. Essentially, if you find this in older people, so I don't know if you have grandparents or something, they got a pacemaker fitted into their, I think it's near the chest, and that is basically what controls your heart rate. However, you might get an evaluate question. By the way, Cody, do you know what evaluate means? Yeah, evaluate means what's the positives, what's the negatives. Okay, that's what evaluate means. So let's just look at the negatives. What's the main negative with having this? Angela, what do you think? Yes, you have to get them replaced. So look, it's a battery, yeah? They got a battery inside. The battery runs out. You need to get, you need to get it replaced. You might also get risk of rejection, maybe. Basically, your cells don't accept it. Okay. So that's pretty much it. We've not done all the specification today. We've done parts of it. So I'll just show you. This is taken from the AQA specification. So it's not mine. But students should know the structure and function of the human heart and lungs, and including how lungs are adapted to the gas exchange. We've pretty much done that. The heart is an organ that pumps blood in a double circulatory system. What does that mean, Angela? Two places. Yes. The right pumps it to the lungs and the left pumps it to the body. Okay, I just want to, just one more thing before we start chemistry. I forgot to mention it. This is the heart, yeah? This is your left, this is your right. Now, the left side of the heart is much thicker than the right side of the heart. Cody, do you know why is the left side so thicker? Think about this diagram. Yes, and the body is a longer distance. You need more force for it to go all the way to the body. Because look, the left side pumps it to the body. The right side only pumps it to the lungs. Your lungs are not that far from your heart. Your body is. So, more muscle because it's a longer distance. The left side pumps it to the body. Okay, we've done that. We haven't done blood vessels today. We've just done coronary arteries. We'll do that next time. Actually, no, we have done that. Sorry. Trachea, bronchi, alveoli, artificial pacemaker. We just haven't done this. Now, arteries, veins, capillaries, we'll recap it next time pretty quickly. Other than that, we've pretty much done it. Okay.